I'm with you, but here you.
All right, let's get started. The regular meeting of the Oakley Planning Commission is called to order. Roll call. Vice Chair Price.
Here.
Commissioner Harvey.
Here.
Commissioner Oliveros is absent tonight. Commissioner Chuco.
Present.
And I am Chair Verduzco, present. If you are able to, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. So we will be moving item 6.1 up on the agenda and hearing it before public comments. So item 6.1, reports from staff members. Does staff have any reports?
I do have two quick reports, and then I'm going to hand the floor over to our mayor, Ms. Shannon Shaw. I just wanted to say congratulations to you, Mr. Diego Verduzco, as serving as chair, and you, Alexi Chuico, for also serving as chair at some time with our planning commission. You both have been very great to work with. It's been an honor serving both of you who serve the public. Thank you very much. I also wanted to announce that the City Council has appointed 3 new planning commissioners for the 3 vacant seats, one of which is sitting up there with you tonight. Mr. Vice Chair Leonard Price was reappointed. And we also have the other 2 new members here in the audience with us, Pierre Gowdy, sitting in the back, and Sean Ireland in the back as well. Congratulations to all 3 of you gentlemen. Now with that, Madam Mayor, thank you.
All right. Hello. Hi. So Chair Verduzco, Vice Chair Price, and Planning Commissioners, I just wanted to come here tonight specifically because we started this thing together and I wanted to be here to recognize the 2 of you. If you would come down, I have a little certificate for you that I will read. And you get to take a picture with me and Councilmember Williams. All right, so in recognition of your dedicated and invaluable service as a member of the Oakley Planning Commission, your commitment, leadership, and vision have significantly contributed to the planning and development of our community. We thank you for your tireless efforts and extend our deepest gratitude for your contributions during your term of October 13th, 2021 to October 12th, 2025. Thank you guys very much. What you do is very, very important. I hope our future planning commissioners and our seated planning commissioners know that the City Council really appreciates everything that you guys do. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Diego. Thank you. Yes, please, please, please. Very excited for these 2.
Thank you. Thank you so much for showing up.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So good. So good to do this with you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Alrighty, so thank you for the kind words, and thank you for the certificate. Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council Member Williams. Thank you for the kind words. Did you want to say anything?
Sure. Are we just doing it right now and then go straight to business?
Sure.
Okay, no problem.
Just a quick thank you. Just a quick thank you.
Okay, we'll do all the pleasant stuff first, though. I would like to, first of all, extend huge gratitude to Director Strelo and his staff. It's been a pleasure working side by side with you. Just really getting to learn a lot of intricacies about, I guess, the process of planning for the city, which, it's very easy to think that it's super, super easy. And oh my God, how come these guys cannot think of this, right? But once you get here, you get to be on the other side of the aisle, so to speak. You get definitely bigger appreciation to what you do and all the city staff does. So thank you so very much for that. Also to our entire city council. So you guys, you put a lot of confidence when you were selecting basically the very first round for the Planning Commission 4 years ago. This is not a small token, and I sincerely, and I'm sure it's on behalf of all of us, we appreciate this opportunity that you have given to for us to grow, to learn, and to really kind of again, get a bigger appreciation to everything that happens in our city. Of course, I would like to thank my fellow commissioners. It's been a great journey. We became not just colleagues, but great friends over the years, and it's when everything is said and done and when you're kind of finished the journey, it's really the friendships that you made that count. So I would say that's the biggest, I think, treasure that I can get out of this experience. So to the new generation of planning commissioners, all I can tell you is there's a lot of learning, but it's an extremely rewarding experience. You will definitely, it will definitely stretch your imagination in some ways, and also appreciation for all the incredible work that city staff and city council does for our city. So in your new role, it would be kind of a huge part of it is going to be education, that you'll have to sort of be that person, right, in between the staff and the council and members of the public. The part of your job is to educate and explain why you're, voting a certain way, why you're making certain decisions. It's really important, especially because, there's a lot of division, all around us, no matter where you look, but your job is to unify people and make everyone realize that, people who sit here, who work here in the city are on the side of the people that they represent. We're all in this together. This is an incredible, lean and wonderful city that does a lot of great work for us. And, we are also very proud to say that big part of our employees here, of the staff, are actually from this community. So they definitely have stake in the game, and your city council, has proven to you that they do absolutely the same. So thank you, everyone. It's been a great journey, and here's to the new chapter.
Thank you, Commissioner Chuko. All righty, so back to business. We'll move on to agenda item number 2, public comments. At this time, public comments will be heard for items not on the agenda. I do have a public speaker card submitted. To submit a public comment, please complete a speaker card located in the lobby and submit to the city clerk. The time limit to speak is 3 minutes. The time limit is monitored by the timer located in front of the chair's seat. When 1 minute remains on the timer, it will beep once and the light will turn yellow as a reminder to complete your comments before your time expires. So for the comment that I have, Anissa Williams, she wishes to speak.
So I'm new here. It actually should have been on item 6.1. I really do just want to echo, everything that's been said already. We really appreciate the work. I remember when I was running for council and planning commission was something that I really wanted to get off the ground, because I do think the more voices we have representing the community, the better off we are. And you guys have all done a phenomenal job. Our new people back here have really big shoes to fill. And I'm so grateful for the folks who are continuing on. And I'm glad to know that even though you're leaving, I know you're going to still be involved in different parts of the city. So we really appreciate everything you've done. And you've been an incredibly valuable resource for the city council. So I hope everybody who's still sitting up here too hears that we couldn't make the decisions we do without knowing that you kind of came before us. So we really appreciate all of you guys.
Thank you so much for those kind words. All righty, next we move on to agenda item number 3, consent calendar. Is there any discussion, or would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I would like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
All right, I have a first and a second, so I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the consent calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. No opposed or abstentions. The motion passes unanimously. All right, now we move on to public hearings. Item 4.1, 3rd Street Duplex Design Review and Variance Request. Mr. Evan Gorman.
Perfect. Thank you, Chair. Give me one moment. I'll get the presentation loaded up. I appreciate your patience. All right. I'm Evan Gorman, Associate Planner for the City of Oakley. Tonight I'm presenting to you our only application for this evening, 3rd Street Duplex Design Review and Variance Request. First, we want to start off with a lay of the land. Here tonight we're in the downtown, very close to where we're sitting right now. That star represents where tonight's project is, near the center of town. For a closer view, here is the subject property outlined in yellow. It's mid-block on 3rd Street, between the intersection of 3rd Street and Main Street, and 3rd Street and East Ruby Street. Here is a view of the property from the street taken last week, so you can get an updated view. There's the notice board. That's how we notice projects to residents. And this property is zoned SP-4, which means it's subject to the downtown specific plan. So whenever we see that, we open up a separate document. And the general plan designation is for the downtown as well. We have residential uses to the right there. We have commercial uses, including the gym to the rear of the property on the other side of the fence. And then over to the left of this image, we have a realty office. Now for tonight's application that we're reviewing. The first part of the application is the applicant is requesting design review approval for a duplex on this property. Design review is where we review, that's gonna be a funny sentence, where we review the design of most new structures in town. You know, unless you have something like an accessory structure, if you have a new home, you have a new neighborhood, you have a new commercial building, we bring it to you, the Planning Commission, to take a look at it, and then smaller changes we'll review at a staff level. A duplex requires commission review. I do want to give you some background. Oakley's downtown core area, which is where we are, it's our most intense zoning district. You know, you can go, it's where you can go the tallest, you can do the most mix of uses. You know, when our city created this downtown specific plan, we envisioned a walkable area with a lot of different uses and activity. Oakley's downtown core, it only permits second floor residential units with the approval of a conditional use permit. It does not allow typically ground floor residential. A lot of downtown zoning districts across the state do that, and that's so that there's some commercial activity on that first floor. And on that second floor, that's where people live. That's changing a bit. People are moving towards full residential when some cities are struggling to fill those commercial spaces. But for right now, Oakley's downtown zoning seeks to have commercial on the first floor, residential on the second floor. This applicant tonight is seeking to utilize a recently passed bill from the state called Senate Bill 6. Senate Bill 6 allows, in order to achieve more housing where it typically wouldn't be found or allowed, Senate Bill 6 allows residential development on property zoned for retail and office space without needing a rezoning. This allows ground floor residential development in Oakley's downtown. Applicants, there is a catch here for applicants. It isn't just a straight shot to a building permit. You know, this law does respect the local process. So you still have to go through our design review process. And a key part of it is that they still have to meet any of our objective regulations. You know, if it's measurable, if it isn't subjective, they still have to meet it. And our downtown actually has the largest amount of objective regulations. So it's actually it could be seen as an appropriate spot to test that. That is allowing, for context, that's allowing this ground floor residential application to come through tonight for us to review. Here are just some elevations, a 3D rendering of the duplex, and then that black and white drawing is the front elevation as shown on the plans. And I'll just take you a moment to look at it, or I'll give you a moment to look at it. And so the two units are easy to see. So they're each 875 square feet, and they're delineated by those colors. So you see the primary colors, each one represents a different unit. Here's the site plan. I loaded it up today and I was like, you know what, we might all struggle to tell what's what in here. So I have some rudimentary blocks that are gonna come in. So first we have the sidewalk there for reference on the left. We have Unit A, Unit B. They are attached even though they're shown as separate. We have a parking area here, tandem parking, 2 spots. And then we have some outdoor space for the residents in the back, right there. So just going back, that's our site plan, an overhead view of this property. A variance is special permission to deviate from a zoning regulation when strict enforcement would cause unique hardship due to a property's specific conditions. It allows limited flexibility but does not change the underlying zoning rules. This area of Oakley's downtown has a rare development standard. You rarely see this. So all of us, we're used to a minimum setback. We want things to get further apart so that we're not all on top of each other. So we ask for a 5-foot minimum setback on the side. In downtown zoning, you know, in modern downtown zonings across the state, you start to see maximum setbacks. And that's because they do want activity in one area. They want the street to have some activity to it. They don't want all this empty space when they start to build a city. And so they'll set maximums. And so this downtown area has a maximum side setback of 15 feet, which is used to maintain a continuous street wall and support a walkable environment. This applicant, as you'll see in the analysis, they've worked really hard to meet all of our standards. And this one they got very close with, but they said, you know what, we have a very small parcel relative to what the downtown envisioned. And so they are asking for, instead of a 15-foot side setback, they're asking for 16 feet, 8 inches. And so I'll give you a visual of that. Here we go. So when you look at it, this property you could interpret this as meeting the setback. We have 5 feet on one side, and we have 5 feet on the other side. And so, you could interpret it that way. We did want to be, safer rather than sorry. So we have proposed they apply for a variance here just to make sure we do everything correctly. And so there, in blue, we have what the code requires, which is a 15-foot side setback. But there, they just need an extra foot and 8 inches. And so the reason for that is we're trying to fit, the city requires parking on this property, so we need to fit that, or the applicant does. And then the city also requires some common open space. We're the ones asking for that. And so in the bottom right corner, they're trying to fit that open space there. Now, whenever someone submits an application, we provide an analysis with it. Staff reviews it, sees how well it conforms to our regulations we have in town. Although the downtown specific plan did not anticipate ground floor residential uses in this area, city staff have determined that the applicant's proposed project complies with the established downtown standards and design guidelines. The design incorporates several key elements that align with downtown requirements. So when the applicant originally proposed this, we looked at it and thought, how do you get 2 small units to meet the design standards of a apartment building? And it was pretty amazing. So we started talking and meeting on it, and we saw what they were doing, and they took each objective standard, and it's not like we went easy on them. It is our job to go through each of the standards that have been approved in a public process and make sure they conform to it. So, for instance, I have a list here. The roof has been pitched up to achieve the 20-foot minimum height standard. So again, usually we have maximum standards. Here we have a minimum because we want the street to have some activity to it, some height. And so they've actually achieved that. They've pitched it up, the roof. The building is positioned at the front property line as specified in the downtown specific plan. So again, we want to be close to the action. So they've moved the units up. And each residential unit features a primary entrance opening directly onto the street-facing sidewalk. Additionally, the project meets parking requirements by providing 1 space per unit, with parking areas located along the side of the building rather than in front, consistent again with the plan. The design achieves visual distinction between the units through those varied earth tone paint schemes. The plan calls for those to look different, and they got that done. Porches and peaked roof lines increase the compatibility between the duplex and neighboring homes. The development includes the required common open space as specified in the downtown specific plan. Exterior materials, including wood siding and tile shingles, comply with the established material standards. And the incorporation of bay windows is also encouraged by the downtown specific plan. So they did work very hard through many revisions, and we found that they did meet our plans for the downtown. For the variance, staff find that the required variance findings can be met because the variance does not grant special privilege. It serves the specific regulatory purpose of creating compliant common open space and parking as required by the DSP, rather than providing a development advantage. The maximum 15-foot side setback rule is intended to maintain street wall continuity, not to limit functional open space and parking design. Special circumstances exist due to the small lot size combined with the downtown plan's open space and parking requirements, where strict application would deprive the property of rights enjoyed by properties on larger lots. So we found, due to the small size here and the constraints, that a variance is warranted. For environmental review, the project is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, pursuant to Section 15303. If you've ever wondered why someone building a house doesn't have to do an environmental impact report, it's because, we recognize that these small projects are small in scale, and so if you do a home or a duplex, you're exempt from CEQA. For staff's recommendation, because this applicant has worked hard to meet our findings, we find that staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt the resolution approving Third Street duplex design review and variance request as conditioned. And then, as staff, I can try and answer any questions you have. I appreciate you listening to my presentation. The applicant would like to present. First, I'd like to see if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll wait till the end and we can bounce them off myself or the applicant. And then finally, the owner would like to speak as well.
Thank you, Mr. Gorman. Are there any questions from the Planning Commission? Commissioner Chico?
Yeah, Mr. Gorman, I do have a question. So it sounds like applicant has done excellent job in complying with all the minimums that we, have for our downtown area. However, I do have a kind of a technical question. So you mentioned this several times, close to action, right? And that's what kind of the future of the downtown that we'd like to see in Oakley is having a lot of action, a lot of businesses here. Just hypothetically speaking, if, let's say, a music venue opens up, on the main street, right there next to that house, right? And there's loud music going till 11 o'clock. Is that going to, in any way, shape, or form, diminish chances of that music venue going in there because there is already a residential property, so close in the proximity to it?
I think that's a great question. That's a really good question. There's things we would evaluate when a music venue comes through. It either, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it would either be permitted by right because the city has already anticipated that this is going to be a center for activity. It is going to be a noisier place, maybe not noisy inherently. And so then it would be able to go through without much conversation like here when something needs a permit. Now, if my memory's not correct, and let's say it does need a conditional use permit, then it would go through to a hearing like this. You're right, that maybe the future residents of these units could come here and say this is going to be too loud. Staff would probably point out that this is the most intense zone of the city. It is designed for things like this. And then finally, just the last point, and this is ultra technical, noise standards in modern housing are, in terms of insulation for the walls, are much better than the pre-war housing that is nearby.
Right.
So that's going to be an impact as well.
Yeah, because it seems like it's a pretty big issue for a lot of downtowns, like in Santa Cruz and such. So just I'm curious, who will have kind of the more rights in that situation: the residents who will live in those duplexes, or the business who would potentially bring a lot of revenue to this city. That's all. Thank you. Thank you for your answer.
Any other questions from the Planning Commission? Commissioner,
Yes, I have a question. The parking lot that's on the back of the property, will they have access to use that city parking lot?
And then I apologize, maybe I need to look at the overview to take a look. Oh, got it. It would not be, this project would not be the goal of the project applicant or the city that they would utilize that. And they would have to stay within the legal bounds of any other resident using that public parking lot. But yeah, if there, maybe there are regulations that I'm not aware of on how long you could be there. If we're seeing the same cars parked there, that would be an issue that we could look to our city staff to review. That's a good question. And I just want to clarify, so I have a very helpful director here, and we were able to determine that a live music venue would need a conditional use permit. It would need to go here, and residents could attend. And so if you have any follow-up questions on that, I just want to make sure you're informed correctly.
thank you, Mr. Gorman. Any other questions from the Planning Commission? Thank you. So next up, we'd like to hear from the applicant.
That sounds great.
Thank you.
Kathy Anderson will come up to present for the applicant, and then Kathy, there's a clicker there, and right on the clicker, it will proceed to the next. It should proceed to the next slide, but I'll help you if it doesn't.
Press the arrow. Okay.
Good evening and happy to have you.
Good evening, Chair and Planning Commissioners. Thank you for having us tonight. And thank you, Evan. Great job. He's been working closely with us on this, commercial parking lot, basically. And we really have worked hard to try and create something to fit into a community that's very high-end, but at an affordable price point to build. And one correction, though, it's a cement fiber hardy board exterior, not wood. And that's for a lot fire zone, or it's not a fire zone, but just to protect against fire. And it's WUI rated too, which is Wild Urban Interface. So this is our design. We call this our Newport plan. And so it's got a nice shed roof, so a lot of volume inside the home. Has the front porch, which, again, trying to blend into the existing neighborhood. And like Evan said, I'll skip through some of this, but basically we're proposing a duplex, but they're offset. So Evan thought, and the planning staff thought it's important not to just put two units next to each other, to have both of those units facing the front street, the front doors, make it very friendly as people are walking by, and making them feel like they're part of the community. They're two-story, like we said, and we're using the Senate Bill 6, which helps convert commercial properties into residential, because where we're coming from too is there's just such a need for affordability and housing, and so that's kind of our goal as our company. And I'm with Perpetual Homes, by the way. So we do these multifamily units throughout the Bay Area. And it's pretty, astounding when we start looking at articles and so forth and different projects. Come from a development background, working at Lennar, Summerhill Homes, some of the builders, and building costs are just so expensive. To do in San Francisco and South San Francisco, Daly City, some of those projects, it's costing over $1 million per unit to produce. So we're trying to find a solution that we can join the communities, have a beautiful product, but build it at an affordable price point. So these are just some of the articles. And those are for low-income projects, by the way. The median home price here in Oakley is $716,000. So again, a lot of the locals can't afford to buy. There will be renters, and these units will be rented out to locals. This is just some summaries about just the severe housing shortage throughout the Bay Area. California has 3 to 4 million units, and which is 20% of the housing stock shortage. If you talk to 82% of the residents throughout California, they identify housing as a big crisis. I know my kids are going to have a hard time staying here. So with being able to provide some more affordable price points like this, we can hopefully keep locals in the community where families can grow up together and have multi-generational housing. And we have some really nice finish levels we're putting into these homes. With Evan's help, we've really addressed, trying to create a warm, friendly exterior to these homes and colors that just kind of blend into the existing neighborhood. These are just some of the nice finish levels we're including as well. That's the front. You've seen that. Yeah, and there's 2 parking spots on the property, and there's some really nice enhanced landscaping that Evans worked with us on to provide on this site plan. Some beautiful flowers, again, as you walk by. We want to be warm, friendly, make it feel like a home for locals. And then Evans already discussed, the existing use, we're kind of a transitional piece of property here where it's entering into a residential neighborhood. So this will be the first one, and then you've got single-family homes adjacent. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the Planning Commission, the applicant? Commissioner Chuko?
Well, maybe not to the applicant, but also to Mr. Gorman per se. So in your presentation on this slide, item D, it says it's a single-family residential, right? It's currently single-family residential, or it's planned to be?
D is a home.
So it's a home.
Mhm, exactly.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant or for Mr. Gorman?
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next up, we'd like to hear from the owner.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Good evening.
I'm sure I have to lower it. Thank you very much, Planning Commission, for hearing us. Introducing myself as a longtime owner of this property, probably over 30 years. And I've been in the area for over 50 years and serving as one of our local realtors and property managers. It's very important to me to be able to produce housing because I live in the property management world. And to piggyback on what was said is that we just do not have enough housing. I think both of these structures will create an element where we'll get a fine, outstanding resident that will be able to live in our wonderful community at a very reasonable price. So we thank you for your attention to our project and hope you will consider it positively. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the owner from the Planning Commission? No questions? Thank you so much. Okay, so at this time, I will open the public hearing. I do not have any public speaker cards on this item, nor do I see anybody filling one out. So I will close the public hearing and call for deliberation. What are we thinking? Would any commissioner like to make a motion to adopt the resolution as presented?
I move to adopt the motion.
I would second this motion.
I have a first and a second, so I will call for a vote. All in favor of adopting the resolution as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. No opposed or abstention. This motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 5, regular calendar. There are no regular calendar items, so we'll move on to reports. We already did reports from staff members, so we'll move on to item 6.2. Any reports from, are there any reports from commissioners? So not a report, just again, I'd like to kind of piggyback off of what Commissioner Chuko said earlier. He said it perfectly. Thank you to the City of Oakley staff. You guys did a wonderful job preparing us to sit up here and face the public. It can be nerve-wracking at times, but you guys did a really good job. I always felt prepared. I felt like I knew what I was walking into. There were no surprises, so I appreciate that. Thank you to the City Council. And then good luck to our new planning commissioners. I wish you all the best. Yeah, so next up, we will, do any commissioners have any requests for future agenda items? All right, next item is work sessions. There are no work sessions. So there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.